This is a Xerox 8040 laser printer. I believe it was introduced in 1981 or 1982 and is the first small, air quotes, laser printer that was offered for commercial sale. It has a lot of differences compared to later machines like the Helium Neon laser, laser attenuator, and I think it's pretty neat. Let's take a closer look. So externally, besides the orange paper trace, you just notice that it's this giant beige monolith. I've got the cables tied up out of the way. But all of the panels are attached with these little quarter turn screws. So I'm going to go ahead and take those off so we can get a look at the inside of the machine. So what is going on back here? There is a large AC synchronous drive motor that drives a belt and a chain. The chain has a spring tensioner, and so the chain runs continuously whenever the machine is active, and then you have various clutches. These are the feed roller clutches. This is the registration roller clutch. This is the developer clutch. This spins the drum. This solenoid makes the output stacker cycle. This mechanism here is what applies the spring pressure to the pickup rollers. Here's the waste toner bag. Under this cover, I can get it open, it's like a vacuum cleaner bag. And this hose runs up to the toner hopper. Toner hopper, you might say. What is that? Well, it is a tank into which you pour toner. How do you check the level? You use your Xerox dipstick, of course. I actually recommend you use this thing once a day to stir the tank up. Looking a little low. So this machine was created before the toner cartridge existed. Canon had not invented it yet. So when the toner would get low, you would have a bottle of, I'm already messy. You'd have a bottle of toner that you would just pour into here, into the developer module. Kind of a messy affair, but it made the machine a lot cheaper to run since you would only replace specific parts when they actually wore out instead of all of them every 5,000 or 10,000 pages like in a toner cartridge. Up top is the laser part of the machine. So this device started out as a plain paper copying machine, model 3300. It could make 33 copies per minute. They unbolted all of the optics and bolted in, you can see it's on this cast aluminum assembly, a laser module. So what do we have? Here's a laser power supply, a helium neon laser. There is a shutter in here to block the laser when it's not needed. It goes to this mirror where it then reflects through a modulator over to the polygon. The motor for that is under here. This board drives the laser modulator. And this board is the drive for the polygon. The actual image data comes in over the cable going back to the 8000. It's getting horizontal sync pulses and vertical sync pulses from the printer, and then the computer directly controls the laser. After removing this cover and interlock, let's take a look at this laser. That is not something you would see in later devices. Service isn't necessarily as bad as you might think. Let's go ahead and take the developer module out. So everything is connectorized. This is like a float switch for the toner hopper, and it tells based on its height, it adjusts the exposure somehow. So it's got this spring-loaded clamp. If I pinch it, that'll flip down, and then I can just take, after removing that hose, the developer out. And now you can see the selenium drum. At the bottom of this is the magnetic roller that the toner is attracted to. And that is brought up into contact with this shiny selenium drum. That's what does the imaging. I'm going to need to cover this drum. It is light sensitive, and they say it's important to not expose it to light for more than 3 minutes. Actually, I'll just take it completely out. So this drive gear for the developer comes off, and then there are these little pins that hold this in place. This catch tray comes out. These are the registration rollers. Then, whoops, don't touch the drum. This should, whoops, if I get that in the right place, begin to come out. And then I can unhook one of the corona wires, the ground, and I think a paper path sensor. And then this just comes out of the way. At the front of the machine, there are the paper trays, 2 trays. These are the corona wires for the that first charge the drum and then draw the toner from the drum onto the paper. And this is the registration roller assembly. Behind here is the fuser. I'm not going to take the fuser assembly out, but you can see it's on a kind of like a cabinet rail where you could just slide it out. Now, one thing that is amusing about this fuser is it's not a fusing roller. This is a fusing oven. It's just a little easy bake oven that gets really, really hot and melts the toner onto the page. So if you get a paper jam inside of that, it will singe and potentially catch the paper on fire. Here's a detail on how this lever flips up the paper stacks, and then the paper, as it's fed, will go up in through here into the registration rollers. The back side of the control panel actually has a lot of the brains of the operation in it. Another detail that I liked is all of these pin headers are labeled, and so you can probe them from the front of the machine. There's an interlock switch. There's my page count. And then here's the output stacker. The page comes out of the fuser and goes into this slot, and then these arms flip around and deposit the pages onto this spring-loaded tray. We'll see that here in a minute. Down inside the machine, we have the high voltage power supply. Back there is a low voltage power supply. This is described as the ADC board. I think it has to do with controlling exposure, and I forget what this board does, but it's there. So let's fire it up. So with it turned on and the door open, we get an E5. You can see in there, maybe, that there we go, that the laser is running. It runs full time. So I've got this little interlock cheater device. We'll just put that in there, give it a little twist, and now we see L1, which means warming up. And if we come down, you can see the very bright fuser heater is warming up the oven. This takes about 6 minutes. And then after a little click of the thermostat closing, the display goes blank, and the fan is now running on low speed. Let's see if it prints. That's a jam. Try that again. Notice how we now have an offset stack between the two different trays. So what all have I needed to do to get the machine to this point? Well, fortunately, not too much. One of the things I did was I took a rag with some brake fluid on it and rubbed it on these pickup rollers, which really kind of rejuvenated them. That's a trick one of my friends who does a lot of work with typewriters told me. Oh, here, you can see how that lifts now. The other thing I did was that this registration roller clutch, this would focus, was assembled backwards. This part with the little ears was turned around so that it would never drive the gears. And I think what was happening is that this pickup clutch, or the clutch for the Tray 1 rollers, was filled with gunk and was holding on longer than it was supposed to. And so it was multiple feeding pages and then jamming them up against this pickup, or the registration roller. And I assume the prior owner was trying to fix it and was trying to disable this roller so that it didn't multiple feed papers into the fuser, but hadn't quite gotten to fixing this problem yet. Fortunately, it was not too bad to disassemble all of this. It's just little E-clips and whatnot. I put some oil on the chain. The motor somehow was adjusted up in its mounting, so the chain was loose. Oh, I don't know if you heard that little click. That was the fuser thermostat. Anyway, now the chain is well within the movement of the automatic tensioner. I had to retension the toothed belt, and I had to replace the hose for the dust extraction system from the toner hopper. The original one was just crumbling. So that's it for now. I'm going to go ahead and put the covers back on this. I think the next step will be getting the software loaded onto the 8000, and I'm waiting for an SA1000 adapter for the hard disk so I can image it. So it'll be a little bit before the next installment. Thanks for watching.